Okay, hello and welcome to another BigFork webinar. I am here with Marcus Hemsley and we are going to talk about the world of AI in B2B, B2B marketing across the whole funnel. And I think it will be really, really helpful for those who want to know. So Marcus, digging straight into it, what is the best way to use AI in a B2B space?
Yeah, look, I think we're all playing with AI and we're having a lot of fun, but it's all about driving revenue ultimately. In the B2B space, we tend to have a CRO breathing down our neck saying, well, how can we dial up the numbers? How can we increase revenue? And not just revenue, but profitable revenue. So what I'm going to talk about today, Vicky, if that's cool, is just running through the funnel ultimately. And I want people, when they're listening to this, to get some actions that they can take away, they can test and hopefully drive revenue from it. Because for me, that's what I want to do, is just get an impact. Otherwise, I'm just sharing some cool ideas. I worry about falling into the sort of category of an AI hype merchant, which is not where I want to be, right? I own a performance agency and we're all about driving revenue and growing the bottom line through digital marketing and technology. So that's kind of where my head's at. So I say this to clients all the time, both agency clients, people I consult with, like, if you want to drive revenue for this quarter, the best place to look is customer lifetime value, right? And ultimately, yes, we're using machines, but we are dealing with human beings at the end of the day. And we can upsell, cross-sell, expansion sell, increase our prices if we understand our customers better and their pain points. So the first thing we've been doing that actually seems to make a difference is every conversation we have with a client is transcribed, right? It's written down, it's recorded by a Fathom note taker on Otter AI. If you're in person, like I use Minutes AI. So every conversation I'm having is recorded and transcribed. And then what's been really useful is actually uploading that to ChatGPT. Specifically, if you want to make your own little GPT agent, you can, and get it to actually look for things around customer pain points. But it's been so useful to actually help with understanding people's pain points. So for example, we onboarded a new client last week, 90-minute session of just how we can help them over the next 6 months. And I'm not writing notes, right? I've got my Fathom note taker in there. So then a few days go by, we've got to catch up with him next week, and we need to put together an action plan of what we're going to do. And we spoke about a lot of stuff, right? I mean, imagine like me saying to you now, Vicky, right, think of a meeting you had last week for 90 minutes. Can you tell us off the top of your head, like, what are their key pain points? What were they really worried about? Like, what are the best actions that we can take in priority of driving results? And you're going to go, I can remember like 2 or 3% of that.
On the spot.
Right. So, like, but if you upload it to ChatGPT and you make an agent which is called like lifetime value, and you can set it with some parameters of here's how to actually go through the transcript and look out for it. But even if you don't want to do that, chuck it into GPT-5 and just say, look, read say the person's name's Luke. Like, okay, read the transcript with me and Luke, and tell me what Luke's biggest pain points are. Like, give me a checklist of actions to feed back to him. Build me a checklist so I can say, right, here's what we're going to do in order. And you can argue with it and interrogate it, but my goodness, like, the quality of the customer service jumps up. And there you can then say, okay, like, listening to what sort of Luke's saying, like, where are the opportunities to upsell, i.e. sell more? Where are the opportunities to cross-sell, sort of things? Whereas, is there anything he said that leads us to potentially an expansion sell, something that we can map out across the group? Like, what are we currently charging them? How can we book in a price increase? All of these things, like, it's so much more effective because stuff isn't lost. And ultimately it goes back to the fundamentals that we're doing with human beings.
Yeah.
And they want to feel listened to. They want to feel that we understand them. And this technology, we should be able to help them. Again, you can also look at different personality types as well. There's a bit of technology that's been going for a while. It's not necessarily AI. It's called Crystal Nose, spelled KNOSE. And that looks at their LinkedIn profile, how they write, and it puts them into personality type on the disc profile. So that people know it by colours. There was a book called Surrounded by Idiots that came out recently, or a few years ago, and it talks about different personality types based on colours. So you can also look at how best to approach them for an upsell, for a cross-sell, based on their personality type. And you can just plan that in. But ultimately increases customer service, and in terms of increasing that lifetime value, you can take all those transcripts. Like, we had that with a client recently, actually, where I put, gosh, like, I don't know, 20 hours of transcripts in and just said, right, what is their pain points here? Like, what is the consistent theme and what have I missed? And on that, I'll tell you a funny anecdote. A friend of mine who's a consultant, he has got an issue with his mother-in-law. I don't know her. I'm going to change the names but let's say her name is Margaret. So he built an AI agent called Margaret. And the reason that he chose Margaret is because his mother-in-law, the reason he's got a problem with her, is she always picks holes in everything he does. She's always criticizing him, Margaret. So he's created an AI agent called Margaret. And after every coaching call with a client, he uploads the transcript from Fathom. He goes, okay, how could I have done better, Margaret? And Margaret tells him all the things he did wrong. But in terms of the learning cycle, in terms of missing pain points, in terms of missing like what they really care about, ChatGPT is great at that. You have to also take it with a pinch of salt. You have to tell it always to read the transcript so it doesn't hallucinate. You have to also make sure that it can't perfectly read between the lines. So there is this interaction, this interplay between you as a human being going, okay, they said that. So what I often get it to do is just draw from the transcript and tell me all the bits they were saying about, worrying about debt or worrying about lead quality. And it'll pull out the exact bits he said. I'm like, okay. And we know his personality type's this. Okay, how should I approach this? So it's much more forensic, but essentially what you're doing is you're feeding it real-time data of what your clients are saying, as opposed to what we were doing like 3-4 years ago of just going, yeah, I spoke to him last week. I reckon I can sell something to him. Can't remember actually what he said.
Don't know what I want to sell. Don't know what they want. Yeah.
No. So I think anyone listening, look, if you want to use AI for just generating revenue fast, like it's so much easier to get money from existing customers. That's just how it is, right? The trust level's high. They're already conditioned to pay you. You've already got service. So I think anyone listening, if you do one action from this, it would be record every conversation with clients and upload it to ChatGPT and interact with it and see if that can improve your service and see if there's opportunities to serve them better. So that's the first one to start with.
It seems such a simple idea, doesn't it? And from that as well, you can start pulling loads of patterns together. So actually it helps you personalize your intros, but it will give you a broader overview of what actually your customers are looking for as well.
Exactly that. It helps you understand them better, right? I mean, look, Vicky, you're amazing at marketing, right? And the best marketers, I believe, are always chatting to customers and trying to understand customers, right? Like my good friend of mine's a brilliant marketing consultant, and he always says there's trouble when he walks into a marketing department and goes, right, when's the last time you guys spoke to a customer? And it's just silence. Whereas he walks to the marketing department and goes, right, how can you chat to customers? They're like, oh yeah, yesterday. Or the sales team always feeding back what the customers are saying, why they're not buying, what they're liking, etc. Because that feeds into understanding the pain points and shaping the message at the top of the funnel. So I think that'd be the first place to start if you want to generate as much revenue as possible, which I imagine people do, right? You can take the same heuristics and the same process and use it for sales. And I think more people are doing a bit more of this in, sort of B2B. There are, sales agents you can buy. There's a brilliant sales trainer I love called Marcus Hemsley. Big fan of his stuff. Check that out. I imagine he's doing, I don't know for sure if he's got an agent, but he can definitely help in terms of using AI for sales training. Like that's really good. And again, it's just that iteration piece. Like really you want to have your own version of Margaret, who's your sales coach. And it's better to get it from an AI than from perhaps a colleague, because you feel there's less emotional weight.
Yeah, that's personal.
But it's quite good because actually, it's a bit of, it's a bit of faff. It's not really to literally click on. I use Fathom. So when you get after each call, you get like, okay, Fathom, here's the call recording. Here is the sort of the summary. And then you click to transcription, you click to copy it, and you just put it into a GPT. But if you're doing that on a regular basis and you're getting the feedback, you can see, which sales calls went well versus which ones didn't. What were you saying? Like, where did you miss stuff? Because it's that feedback thing. It's that mirror. I mean, ultimately with sales, like you want to serve, you don't want to sell, right? If you're being salesy, people don't like that feeling when your hand's on their wallet, simply because you push them into fight or flight. And I got this from the amazing Marcus Hemsley, right? Like it's as soon as you're in fight or flight, like, I mean, I don't know if you think of the last time you're in fight or flight, Vicky, but imagine someone just cut you up in traffic, right? You're not about to buy something off them because you're full of adrenaline. An amygdala hijack, you're getting all these sort of hormones and chemicals going, I don't like this person. And that level of disgust and distaste comes into people when a salesman's being really pushy. I don't know if you can think of a time when a salesman's been pushy with you, saleswoman, 2025, but a salesperson's been pushy. Like, what are the emotions that's come up for you?
Yeah, you think, well, I don't want to buy from you.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, for me, like, one of my favorite books is called Trust-Based Selling, where actually the whole energy you want to take to the sale is just caring more about them and helping them get their outcome than you making the sale.
Yeah.
And if you genuinely come in with that energy, people are much more likely to buy. That's just the truth. But how do you get into that energy? And we all make that mistake. Like, I had someone I was chatting to the other day, and he showed a bit of interest in our services. I got a bit excited and said, we got this, and this. And I could tell the energy switched. I was like, oh, actually, no, hold up. I need to slow down and go, sorry. I don't know if those things were helpful, but tell me a bit more about what your challenge is. Like, just listen and be aware that most of the time maybe they're not right, and that's okay. And then you'll try and help them find the right place. But having that recorded, and actually I need to take my own advice. I've got that transcript of that call last week. I'm going to put it into GPT and have my version of Margaret just tell me off and say, but it allows you to, I think, grow that thing that all brilliant people have, which is a growth mindset of introspection, of going, okay, here's how I performed and I got this outcome. How can I do better? Yeah. So again, on the sales side of things, and again with the pre-call, right, you can use something like Crystal knows to work out their personality types. You can do the research on them and use AI to do that. I think a lot of the guesswork's been taken out of how companies are performing and what they think, because you can do deep research on GPT-5. You can use Notebook LM to like really go in. They can use different tools to research exactly what's going on with the company, what their plans are, etc. The only risk I would say, the counter thing, is that often with sales, if you overload your mind with knowledge about the prospect, you turn up to the sales call or the demo with a lot of noise in your head and some sound bites you want to spurt at them, and that's not the right energy. I often say to my head of sales, like, she really prepares and she's brilliant. But I've said to her in the past, like, be in the room, not in your head. Because when you're in the room, so it's almost like I would actually flip it the other way around and say, look, I've got my note taker recording this, so I can follow up with stuff that's relevant. But I just want to show up empty and just say, listen, like, so tell me the series of events, tell me the story, the things that happened that made you think we need a new supplier in this. So in my case, a new marketing agency, right? Or, fill in the B2B blank, whether it's SaaS or it's some form of manufacturing solution, if it's more wholesale, whatever it is. And then listen and ask lots of good questions. And your question will be, fed back to you by an agent, and that's cool. So that's kind of it for sales. I mean, it's generally the same thing, but I think, like, if all you did was just take this sort of like new way of just getting transcripts, uploading them, getting feedback and iterating and improving, like, you increase your sales conversion rate and sales velocity, and you increase your customer lifetime value, that will be a great return on investment and a good use of AI, to be honest, to make you better, rather than just going, AI does it all and I just sit back and don't have to work, right? There we are. Having said that, the next thing I want to chat about, and this is more BigFork's territory. I know you guys are big into conversion rate optimization, and it's it's really refreshing, I'll be honest with you guys, because obviously I've done a performance agency, and like, it's rare to meet web agencies that, especially in B2B, that actually care about CRO, conversion rate optimization. Like, it always blows my mind. Like, the average conversion rate on the internet is about 1%. I mean, that's brought down by ecom, but let's say a B2B website is converting at 1%. By just getting to 2%, you double the leads and half the cost per lead for the same amount of traffic.
Yeah.
And have a web designer that sort of like keeps that in mind it's rare. I think you guys are awesome for it. I've run, and we still run, a conversion rate optimization department. And what's cost us a lot of time in the past is watching and I'm trying to figure out why more people aren't inquiring, right? Like, why leads are the level they are. And there's some really great software, right? So I always used to say, like, you go onto Amazon and someone's watching you, which is basically, there's session recording software that's recording where your mouse is going, what you're clicking on, and so on. And that's how Amazon iterates and gets better, right? Now, this software has been around for ages. There's actually a local Norwich one, shout out to Norwich agencies, called Session Cam. I think they were sold a few years ago, but it's basically, it screen records everyone interacting with the website. The challenge is that costs a lot of time, human time. So imagine, like, you know, it's your B2B company's website and you've got to hire an agency or UX CRO person to watch hours and hours and hours of people's mouse movements and trying to figure out what's going on. And of course, the software is, over the years, it's got slightly better at like clustering it and saying this is for this area or whatever. But I'm in Tel Aviv right now, and there's some really nice emerging tech where basically the AI is doing a lot of the CRO like heavy lifting for us, right? So there's one that I know you guys are testing called Web Eyes, where essentially the AI agent is watching all the sessions for you. And then it is telling you, okay, here are the core drop-offs on each web page, and here's the value on them. Now, if it's an e-commerce, it's much easier to assign value, but if you sign like a value to a lead, so an MQL is worth X to your company, you know that you close X amount, and you know, or X amount will become an SQL and you close X amount, and that's the value of it, right? So it can attribute values to changing the website, which I'm sure is web designers and CRO people you're happy about. You're like, right, we can actually attribute a clear return on investment in doing this and dramatically cut the costs. So where I see that going in terms of AI is essentially websites that will optimize themselves with you guys overseeing it and building a really good one, putting the AI in, and it looks at telling you the changes, and then you guys can run the controlled experiment. I imagine the Holy Grail is one that does A/B tests itself and just figures it out and just constantly optimizes. I imagine it's where it's going to get to. But the truth is you need a solid foundation, right? And then you guys provide that foundation. And then if you need to bring in new sort of elements or whatever, I still think you guys would do a much better job than an AI at the minute. But for anyone listening, check out Web Eyes, or we'll speak to BigFork because you guys are potentially using them. So I imagine you can get a sort of a reseller's rate or something. So that's really cool. And then finally, going back up the funnel. So we've done lifetime value, increasing sales, increasing the website conversion rate. But obviously we need to get people interested in you. We need to speak to your ICP. We need to tell stories. We need to make them feel something and make you stand out, and then go down the funnel. And obviously there's lots of ways of doing that. You can hire an SDR to bash the phones, but in the digital world, it makes more sense to create really good content. Because I always think like what we're doing is we're essentially going, who's your ICP? It's like, well, they're these people. Great, these job titles. Cool. Where's their attention? Here, in front of a screen. Cool. Well, what are they looking at on that screen? And let's get in front of them. And we need to get in front of them with something that interrupts them and is so timely, relevant, useful that it makes them feel an emotional spike of, oh, that's cool. And then they want to know more, and they feel a sense of reciprocation for your brand. So they will download the white paper, they'll click on the website, they'll eventually, you know, after a bit of nurturing, book a demo, or become a QL that becomes the SQL and all the rest of it. So this is where I think you and I have had a bit of fun, Vicky, because I know we've played with some AI for this. Because obviously that's where a lot of people are thinking, great, AI is great for content, but I was about to say show of hands, like we're in a room, but virtual hands, like who here's tried to get ChatGPT to write them a blog post and thought, oh, or a white paper, and being like emoji heavy, like of course with the right prompts you can get it a bit better.
Yeah.
I was messing around with it, and I think you have as well. And then we came across a really nice piece by a guy called Michael Simmonds. I've got a lot of time for. He used to be the most viral content sort of writer on Medium. And his story is very humble. He started off being one of the worst writers on Medium, and he just learned, like, reverse engineered virality. And now he's got a school that teaches using AI for content. So definitely check out Michael Simmonds. But I think we can probably share the link, Vicky, like with this. But he's come up with a thing which he calls his infinite prompt, which is really smart. So basically what he's done is he uses Claude AI, and I think Claude is better for writing. I don't know if you've been using that more than GPT. I think it's better, but he basically, what he does is so there's a topic. So I use a live one at the minute. So we've got an awesome head of SEO at Fountain, knows a lot, and very well researched guy, written a book, like absolutely brilliant. And he'd come up with like, here's our positioning on AI mode for SEO in the future. I was like, cool. I want to sort of put what he's done and sort of like combine it with a lot of research and help create some content on this. So I took what he's got and I asked ChatGPT 5 to do deep research on everything to do with SEO and AI mode in the future SEO. And it took about 20 minutes. And I also put in like all of our top competitors, what they're saying, like just getting it all together in one place, plus Pete, our guy's saying, put it into one document. And Pete was saying a lot of the same stuff. He's saying a few things extra that I thought were good, which is great. And then I used Michael Simmonds' infinite prompt. So what he's done, he's come up with a prompt where you put it into Claude and you put in a lot of research. We put in our research on one big PDF and we say, right, Claude, read this, think about it in stages, and then write one article. And then when you've written the article, I want you to go back and read the research again with the new article and then come up with a different article from a different angle. And then we've done that. Read the research, read articles 1 and then 2 and have a think about it and come up with it. So it forces Claude to think. And I've been really impressed with the results because actually what you get is, Michael says 15 seems to be the sweet spot in all the experiments he's run. And you get 15 articles that then you can take those articles and so Claude's written very well and very bullet pointy. So it's, low calorie content, good to digest. But by the end of it, you get really good content with getting the AI to think as hard as it can based on all of the research from the best thinkers on the internet on a subject. And the whole process, when we did it for you guys, it took us 40 minutes, right? An hour max. And then from that, then you've got your titles for LinkedIn posts, then you've got like ideas for podcasts, then you've got all these things, but it's based on research and AI machines thinking hard for you. And I think that really helps. I think, check out Michael Simmonds and check out his ways of structuring content. Like the fundamentals still need to be there, right? It needs to have a really good hook. Like I think the thing where content goes awry, and this is true before AI, is that people spend time writing the content and they don't think about the hook, which is the title and the image in the post you're going to share it. If that's crap, if it is not thumb stopping, if it doesn't make me think or feel or do anything, if I'm just going to scroll past it, it could be the best blockbuster, life-changing content in the world. No one's going to read it.
Yeah, it's the most important part, really, isn't it?
It is, and yet we all do the thing. Like you ask anyone who's put a bit of content out, how long did it take for you to write that lead magnet? I don't know, 3 or 4 days. How long did it take you to write the hook? 3 or 4 minutes, right? So someone like Michael Simmonds contends that actually you want to do almost like 50-50, which blows my mind. I spent 4 days writing a lead magnet. I spent 4 days writing hooks. Well, you may argue, yes, if you're going to A/B test, but maybe 4 is extreme. But it's trying to make that point. So I think that's the thing I want to leave everyone with is like, actually, you still need the human sort of like way of structuring it. I mean, I imagine in a couple of years that may be slightly more obsolete as it just gets better and better. Like I think it's going to get smarter and smarter. I was actually having breakfast just now with a guy who's runs a large insurance tech firm in the US, where essentially they figured out everything an insurance company does and that a broker needs. And then they're just creating a portal. We just talk at the portal and say, right, we've just closed this customer. They need a quote for X. And it'll do all the stuff of speaking to the underwriters, getting the quotes, getting all the things. It'll almost build the agents in real time based on what the person needs. So it's like an agent that builds agents for specific tasks and it just sends it to you. So look after the entire back end. So with my entrepreneurial hat on, went, so hold on, if I just set up an insurance brokerage today and just sent a lot of traffic to a cool looking website, maybe built by BigFork, and got a lot of clients, I could just use your technology just to do all the work and get all the quotes and go to the underwriter. So you used to be the guy in the middle. I was like, that's so interesting, which I think that's where the world's going, because everyone's racing to do that. But if we go back to the fundamentals of what I was just talking about, 4 core areas, right? Increasing lifetime value. You need to understand your customers better for that. Increasing sales conversion rate. You need to understand your customers better for that. So that's where you leverage AI. Increasing website conversion rate. You need to understand why more people are dropping off. Well, AI can help you with that. And then creating content that really is interesting, unique, sets you ahead. Well, you can leverage AI for that. So really, those are sort of 4 core areas to generate revenue. And I hope people have found that useful. But that's my 20-something minute rant on it and where I'm playing at the minute. So hopefully that helps people make a good return on investment on their time for listening to me chat.
No, it's no, it's really, really interesting. It's really helpful as well. And on the Claude side, I've been using it to proofread everything I've written. What I did is I uploaded BigFork's tone of voice doc, and it works like a dream. So Claude Sonnet, as you said, Claude's better for writing, but I've found that so helpful. Because I think AI, you think of AI and you think of ChatGPT like every time. So I think there's a lot more out there, and I think it was really helpful. So thank you.
No, you're very welcome, and we'll keep playing, man. We'll make some more blockbuster content. Hope it's useful. We come up with an awesome hook for this, Vicky, so hopefully people can watch it. So that's good.
I'll use Claude, but we'll pop the link to the Michael Simmonds prompt in there as well. And obviously, if anyone wants to connect with myself or Marcus on LinkedIn, we'll be, depending on where this is, tagged in the bottom, tagged in the top. But yeah, so thank you for coming on, and I really appreciate it. It's been great to talk to you.
Yeah, you too, Vicky. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.